You're very welcome. So this is a look at sound foundations. Now, a few words about this approach, and then we are going to work through a lesson. Now, the approach, the idea is to take pronunciation out of the head and into the body. That's the first thing. To make pronunciation a physical activity, not just a mental activity. So that's number one. And I have a kind of thought that one of the problems with teaching pronunciation is that we keep it as a mental activity. Indeed, at universities, phonology courses are often taught as mental activities. So, take pronunciation out of the head into the body. This means that we are using the muscles. We're making it a physical activity and focusing on the muscles. So, one of my aims, and you'll see this right at the beginning of the lesson, is to make a connection between the head and the muscles, to find where the muscles are. Next thing is, when we attend to muscles, muscles work by moving, and when things move, they're visible. So, in a way, we're also making sounds visible. So this is also a visible approach to pronunciation. We're using our eyes to see pronunciation. And as you know, in every language in the world, people who are deaf can see what their friends are saying. And yet, in language learning, we don't use that fantastic capacity to see sounds. So we're also going to use that, and I'm going to demonstrate that. So we make pronunciation physical, we make it visible. All right, so those are two very important things. The next thing is that I'm going to use mime with my mouth and gesture with my hands to help to make the sounds visible, so that you'll be using your eyes. And sometimes the sound will come from you and not from me. I may be silent. I may be giving the model of the sound silently. So, and I'm going to demonstrate that as well. There's also another way of giving models where the teacher says it only once, and I'll try to demonstrate that when the situation arises. A third way of giving models, which you are very familiar with, is the teacher repeating several times and the students repeating several times. That's also possible, but that is not the approach that I'm taking. This is not an approach of habit making or repetition. This is an approach of awareness and intentional making of sounds. I just want to kind of point that out first, but I'm going to demonstrate all of this in a moment. The model that we use, which English is it going to be? Well, it's the English of the teacher, in this case, this one. But if the teacher is from any other country in the world, it is that teacher's pronunciation. Like every teacher, we can also use a CD or a cassette. We may have other teachers that come into the classroom. So the students will be exposed to different sounds, different sound systems. However, the model that's used is that of the teacher. So when the teacher uses this chart, the teacher puts his or her own sound onto the symbol. When a Scottish person uses the dictionary, they see these symbols, but they make their Scottish sounds, and the same everywhere else. And when we use this chart, I'm not teaching you the symbols, only using these spaces as reminders of the sounds. And actually, you will learn the symbols very quickly anyway. So this is not an approach which teaches the symbols, but students will quickly learn them, and then they can use it from the dictionary and so on. Okay, the final thing to say is that this approach divides phonology into sounds, here, which we're going to work on now, words, when we join the sounds together, add some rhythm, and we have word stress, and words, and then connected speech. When we join the words together, we have sentence, stress, and we have intonation. What we're going to do today is particularly work on the sounds and a little bit on words and connected speech. And the lesson I'm going to do with you is the same lesson that I would do with any first class, whether they are beginners or intermediate or advanced or native speaker or anybody at all. And that is to put this chart into circulation so that we can use the chart in all further lessons. for as many years as the students are studying. Okay,